Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So today I want to briefly touch on what CPQ is all about. We're going to register for an org, and I'm going to talk about a licensing aspect as well. Right. The reason why I wanted to mention about the licensing aspect, I remember someone recently pointed out to me that whenever I talk about a functionality, it's good to talk about the licensing aspect. So yeah, fair enough. That's a valid point. So the first thing first, right? I just wanted to, in the last episode, I mentioned about the certification and exam guide. So today I will talk about what exactly CPQ is all about. Why do you need CPQ, right? We'll talk about a fictitious scenario, um, and we'll create an org, and yeah, and probably we create a code. So that's pretty much I'm going to cover today. All right. So what is CPQ, right? CPQ stands for three things. One is the C, P, and Q, right? So C stand for configure, P stand for price, and the Q stand for code, right? The C, when we talk about configure, it's like you pick out what they will buy. I mean, your customer will buy. And P is for price. It just, it's the product price, obviously, right? And the Q is for code. That's the code which you normally send to the customer. Now, you must be wondering, right? What the heck is the code, right? So, to explain that, I just have to give you a scenario. But in saying that, I will talk about briefly about what code is about, right? So, say for instance, you have a customer. Okay, the customer comes to you and say, "I wanted the code." Now, if you're not sure about the code, you must be wondering what the heck the customer is asking, but most likely that's not the case. But in general, I'm saying. So, what code is about? They wanted to know the details about a potential purchase, right? Such as what they will be getting and how much they will be paying, and also the terms and conditions. So, that's in a nutshell, a code is all about. Okay. The product is the products you add. So, for instance, customer wants to buy uh, you know, the 10, 10 bottles of beers. So that's a product. So you categorize, products can be bundled. That's a different thing. So talk about a bit. And we have the price, the price associated with the product, right? So yeah, so this is in a nutshell the CPQ is about. But that's not enough yet. So because I do understand that you must be thinking that, but this information means nothing to me, right? So if I'm a consultant, or say for instance, if I'm a company, I use Salesforce, but why should I go for CPQ when we have everything else in place? Okay, so I'll give you a scenario. So for instance, I run a brewing company. Okay, so we brew different beers like IPAs, stouts, lagers, right? Now we have a few customers. So for instance, this is a fictitious company, right? So the company based in Wellington. So we got a few customers. Say for instance, customers from Auckland, customers from Wellington, customers from Christchurch, customers from Australia, like for instance Melbourne, or Sydney, right? Now, there are some customers which are our long-term customers, like Australian customers. They often buy in bulk. They buy a lot of things. So based on that, if we give a different price to them, it's like a discount. And the same product costs different in Australia because of the currency difference. Right now, so what happened, right? Initially, as a company, we built the product pricing information in a separate system, which is often accessed by uh, the team who looks after the pricing information. Unfortunately, the sales team do not have access to the system. So what normally happens is when the sales guy requests for an information, the admin of their pricing system often generate a PDF and send to the sales guy, or you can also do Excel documentation, which is fine. Now we hit a snag eventually where there were three new sales guy we hired recently, and we have to offer different pricing to a brewery from Sydney, different pricing from brewery from Auckland, as well as a brewing from Christchurch. Now one of the sales guys reached out to uh, the pricing team and say, "Hey, I'm looking for the pricing for IPAs. Say the customer requesting for 800 bottles of IPA beer. So, and I'm planning to give discounts. So, can you send me the updated pricing information?" So, you know, they decided, okay. The pricing team sent the information in the form of PDF. The sales team is happy. Now, for whatever reason, right? The pricing team has updated the price on some beers. So now what happened? After they updated, the sales guy who requested for the PDF, let's say a week ago, didn't get the latest copy of the PDF, right? So obviously he was working with the old copy. And the other two sales members, right, they got the latest copy. Now, obviously, right, the salespeople not necessarily have to talk to each other, right? It's like if you're a salesperson, you obviously won't go and ask, hey, what's your pricing model? What's your pricing model, right? Obviously, you don't do that. The so as a matter of fact, to keep the story short, the first salesperson got that outdated information, and he created a code and sent then code to the customer with an old with a different pricing model. And when the customer received the information, customer is like, hey, this is not what I've been told. I've been told a different pricing model. I discussed just now with the uh, uh, with with the senior executive from your brewing company, and they said you'll be getting a different pricing model, and you guys send me entirely different one, what we agreed on. And the sales guy like, oh, that's crap. We don't have the latest information. And the sales guy go back to the pricing team and say, hey, can you send me the latest PDF, please? So the team sent him the latest PDF and see, oh, totally different pricing model. So now you see the discrepancy, right? And now this has caused a frustration among your customer, and the customer started to think, this guys are they trying to cheat me? Or they're trying to fool me because they said something to me. They said very different information when I spoke to one of their account executive over the phone. Now they're sending me a different code. So this seems pretty shady. It's so you know that can cause a frustration among the customer. Now imagine that's one thing, and another thing, we have a code creating system, which is in a different system again. So the sales team has to reload the information into the new system, and then generate the code, right? So it's like a duplicate of information that's floating around, and also there's a risk that the sales team may not have the updated pricing information on a product. So, and if you look at it from 1,000 feet above, right, you might see, oh, it's a very simple problem to have. But from a customer perspective, it's a misleading information. And also from a business reputation point of view, it's a big thing uh, to have. I would say it's a worst thing to have. When the customer started getting annoyed, right? Because if a customer get annoyed, they might go and say to another client, "Hey, I don't trust that brewing company because they tell something on the phone, and when they send out the code, they try to cheat you with the wrong code." So to solve that problem, right? Um, we have something called CPQ, right? CPQ is integrated with the Salesforce. You don't have to use different system. Data resides in the Salesforce. So, people with the right access can access the information from the same data source, which is from a Salesforce object. So you see how cool is that, right? And already we are using Salesforce. So with an extra license, it just worked wonders for us. And also it saves a lot of sales rep time to go and request the PDF or Excel from a pricing team. So they don't have to do that anymore. They just can access everything from a single store, or in other words, from a single software, right, from a Salesforce. So that's one advantage. Now, that's a very major advantage though, right? Because Salesforce offer a lot of things in when it comes to CPQ. We talk about codes, we talk about products, just now mentioned, we talk about the prices. We can generate the codes in a PDF form. And also you can also do the contracts and renewals if you have a subscription-based model. We're going to talk about everything in detail, when it reaches this stage. But today, just an overview. So I hope this is clear when I try to explain from a business point of view. My apologies if the example looks a bit shady, but I think beer example is pretty cool, right? Because obviously customer try to buy a lot of beers from a brewery, so obviously they're interested to get the code, right? To see like if I buy 800, so what's the discount will be like, what's the pricing, right? So they wanted to get that information before, the opportunity get converted into an order, right? So it is a very streamlined process when you talk about CPQ. Now, um, CPQ, like I said, it's not free. Okay, so obviously, if you have a Salesforce org, you have to buy, you have to pay for the license. Okay, so for our demo, what I'm going to do, I will register for an org. So as you can see the screen on the screen, right? So now, if you look at the pricing information, right, it's all online. So, okay, I'm not interested in chatting, right? So CPQ, right, $75 USD. We're not talking about New Zealand dollars. We're not talking about Australian money. We're talking about American dollars, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the currency argument. This is what it is. It's an American company, so American money, right? Pretty sweet. All right, so configure price and code software, right? You get it for $75 per user and paid monthly, right? Then you have CPQ Plus. You can configure price and code software with increased process control and automation. So this is another thing. And then you have CPQ billing and growth. So which is you have request a code and create code to cache solution. This is this most companies might be interested in this. So for that, you have to contact Salesforce, right? So now if you look at uh, the functionality, right? A lot of things code to cash offers like configure pricing and coding, which is pretty common to all the model licensing options we have. Enhance products catalogs and price book because price book is very important. And I believe, if you are a small brewery, and I will encourage you to start with the basic to see if it really fits the requirement. That's the reason why we have a trailhead org. You can go and fiddle with it to see if it really meets your requirement. So these two options will pretty much do the job for you. In saying that, you might also need advanced approval and order management, so you might need to go for CPQ Plus, or if you also might need usage-based pricing. So you might CPQ Plus is a great option. But if you're after invoicing and revenue schedules, then you might have to go for along with all the other options we discussed, then you have to go for CPQ and billing growth. In saying so, if you're after complex revenue reporting, automated payments and allocation, then you have to go for CPQ and Billing Plus, and for that you have to request a code. So that's in a nutshell about the licensing model, right? I hope that's clear. I don't want to miss out the licensing part, just to make you guys understand it's not a free software to use, so you have to pay for it, right? So that's cool. All right. Now, how to register for an org, right? Obviously, I assume that you guys are preparing for certification. So most of the students, or even if you're working, in CPQ space, you might want to try it out yourself. It's good to have an org ready so that you guys can practice, which is fantastic. So what do you have to do, right? Go to this place called. I'll put the link in the description below, so don't worry. Don't stress yourself to write it down. Don't worry about it. I'll put the link in the description. So go to this link, trailhead.salesforce.com, CPQ Trail. So you just fill in the details. It's just like any other org registration which you have done before. Pretty simple, pretty consistent. It's not a rocket science, right? Nothing fancy here. All right. So once you fill in, you'll get an email. You click on to verify your account, enter your password. You're good to go. You're in an org. So I'm in an org. So most likely, what happens? You will not see the CPQ when you log into an org. So if you don't see it, you might see something else. So what you can do, go to this tic-tac-toe icon, and you will see a CPQ Salesforce CPQ Org. Okay. So select that, and you will get these options here. You get opportunities, which is pretty important. Obviously, when we talk about CPQ, we talk about opportunities a lot, right? So you create a code. I'll show you how to do that. It's very simple. Then you have orders. You create an order. You have products. Obviously, CPQ is incomplete without a product. Then you have product rules, different products rules that comes into place. How to configure it. I will talk about it when we reach to that stage. But for now, just you know, don't worry about it. Okay, for now. Then we have pricing rules. So different pricing rules, right? Summary variables. Then you have more options like code terms, code templates. We'll look at all of these things, right? Because the certification covers a lot of things. So today it's just an introduction. Okay, so go to opportunity. I mean, I can pick any opportunities I want, right? So I'll choose this opportunity, all opportunity, camera for marketing team, right? Whatever that is. Okay, you already have a code, right? And this is a primary code. So you can only have one primary code for opportunity, right? Remember that. Now, how to create a code, right? Now, you must be thinking, okay, um, so what we can do, you can go to new. So I'll start fresh with the new opportunity. Let's say which one has a maybe it doesn't have one. Desktop support for. All right. So you know what? I'm just gonna delete this one. Don't care. All right. So you will get something like this when you create a new opportunity. All right. Opportunity can contain many codes, right? So now, so so most of the things is you will not find this configuration if you are using a normal developer org, because this is a CPQ org. So that's why you can see codes, you can see contracts, you can see renewal contracts, you can see uh, different stuff, right? All right. So I'm going to show you how to create a code. So code is like a PDF document you send out to your customer. Pretty simple. It contains information about the product, pricing, terms of agreement. Nothing fancy. All right. Okay. So go to code here and go to new. So we'll say buy some what. So if I wanted to make primary, I just make a primary. Select this checkbox to designate this code as a primary one on the opportunity and sync code line with the opportunity line item. So it will sync your code line with an opportunity line item. Just remember that, right? So for now, it's all right. I'm happy with that. So obviously you search an opportunity. Which one is it, right? Okay. I will say, okay, desktop computers for supporting agent. Account, I'm just going to choose the Dave account. Dave Muller and sales rep. I honestly, okay, I choose my name. Why not? Right? And I'm not really concerned about any of the stuff at this stage because we will talk about it. But today's the main idea is to show you how simple it is to create a code. Okay, so that's all we are focusing on today. Click on save. It's not a rocket science, guys, right? I mean, there's nothing complicated about it. It's just you have to understand the concept, why you have to do it, right? So that's the main thing because you will be working as a consultant. You have to explain to the customer why they should go for CPQ. If you come and tell me, right, it does the code, it does the product line, I said, well, we have our own in-house software which does that very well. So you have to, as a consultant, right, you have to understand the pros and cons, and you have to compare their software, and then come up with your reasoning, to suggest customer that hey, go with CPQ. And that's why you have to have full understanding about the licensing model, pricing. It's very important. Okay, so edit lines, right? So I'm gonna go to edit lines. Here we're gonna add code products. I'm gonna add a couple of products, right? So add products, so you can add a group, but I'm just adding products. That's simple. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, notebook. Hopefully I have some. Oh no, computer. Okay, I'm just gonna choose the desktop computer. That's pretty much cool. I'm just gonna select it, and all right. So when you choose the desktop computer, right? See what it do? It will show you all of these prices, right? It's like a product bundle. Okay. So I'll show you. Look at that. And Okay, so all I wanted was a desktop computer, but along with the desktop computer, it says, hey, do you want, the CPU, the RAM, the keyboard, the mouse? It comes as a bundle, as a product bundle. So a product bundle contains, say, in simple terms, like computer, desktop will include mouse, keyboard, maybe webcam, you know. So these all can be sold as a bundle, right? It's just a one product bundle. So so this is a desktop computer, and it just sold as just one bundle. That all of this stuff here. Okay, so let's say I wanted to add another product just to give you an idea. Okay, so let's say I will add another one. So I'll just add another mouse. Let's say I wanted to add another mouse, right? I choose this mouse, and I say select. Okay, all right. So it's added by itself, right? I mean, because it doesn't come as a bundle. Because yes, it is a part of a computer, but when you buy a mouse, nobody asks you, "Hey, do you want to buy a computer laptop with it?" It doesn't work, right? So when you buy a laptop or when you buy a desktop computer, they often ask, "Hey, do you want a mouse? Do you want a keyboard?" Right? If you buy the chassis, right? I mean, I'm not sure if many people uses the desktop computer today, but let's say for the sake of argument, people do, right? So this is how the bundles are configured. I hope the explanation is clear because I wanted to make you guys understand, right? Say a customer comes to you and requests a code. So these are the things that you include as a code, and the customer will want to know what they're gonna get, and what's the price will be like, what's the terms and condition. Fantastic, right? So, all right, now you can preview the document. So you'll see how the document will look like and how you're going to send to the customer. So this is how you're going to send to the customer. So this is salesperson description. I mean, for now it's fine, and the terms and condition. This is what you're going to send to the customer, and the customer will happy with it. So you create an order, and you ship the stuff to the customer. So that's how, in simple terms, the things goes behind the scene. As you can see, it's pretty simple. It's pretty handy. I don't have to go to, different team to request for a price of a product. I don't have to go anywhere, outside this specific software to, look for, different products, right? So I don't have to look for a different software to look for opportunity to link to. So it's all in one place. It's all a part of a single software. That's the advantage Salesforce brings. So this is why I believe that CPQ is very important. So even though customers are using their in-house, just one thing I wanted to highly recommend you guys: just do not suggest CPQ without understanding their in-house system, right? I have seen consultants, especially not just in CPQ, they say, "Hey, can you go and take this one? Can you go and take that one?" If I'm a customer, I will say, "Well, have you even seen what we have in-house, first of all, right?" So if you're a consultant or specialist, whatever you call yourself, it becomes your responsibility to understand, first of all, the problem the customer is facing. Then you propose a solution. Don't propose a solution first and then try to understand the solution. That's a very bad way to do that. You might find it funny, but I've seen people doing that as well. So so that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me anytime. Right? Have a great day. Adios.